tonight live from the 7 Newsplex, beginning first at 5. A 7-year-old is pulled through her bedroom window and raped. Tonight we learn she may not be the only victim. The nation shuts down today in memory of former President Richard Milhouse Nixon. A pickup truck driver is on the road 1 minute, tossed into a river the next. And you are looking at an outraged Cuban community, especially after looking at pictures of a fellow exile kissing Castro. 7 News at 5 is next.
Live from South Florida's news station, WSVN 7. This is 7 News at 5 o'clock.
And hello again, everybody. There is a child rapist on the loose, and tonight, because of it, an entire neighborhood is paralyzed with fear.
We first told you about this little girl snatched from her home in the middle of the night and raped last night.
And tonight, 7 News has learned the same man may have struck before, breaking into homes and actually watching children sleep. This all happening in Vero Beach. That is where 7's Shepard Smith is standing by. He's been following this story since it first broke. He joins us now live with this latest report. Shepard.
Rick, indeed we have, and today we've uncovered some exclusive information. We found out not only that there have been 7 other peeping Tom incidents in this neighborhood, but another girl in this same neighborhood has been, in fact, targeted.
7's Rob Hanrahan is in our National Satellite Center watching the latest video come in on the feeds from California. Rob.
Well, Marilyn, some Americans are calling it one of the most moving experiences of their lives, the opportunity to say goodbye to Richard Milhouse Nixon. Let's take you now live off our satellites to funeral preparations in Yorba Linda. It has been an amazing 24 hours in California. Live in the National Satellite News Center, Rob Hanrahan, 7 News.
Well, back here in South Florida, the question on everybody's mind tonight, is this really the Sunshine State? 7's Kelly Mitchell is at our World Satellite Center. She is looking at the pictures overseas, those pictures that have been coming in throughout the course of the afternoon. Kelly, what do you see?
Well, from all the information we've been able to pull in here at the World Satellite Center, things are pretty much a mess in South Africa. Take a look at the pictures for yourself. You can see what you think.
You're watching 7 News at 5 with Rick Sanchez and Marilyn Mitchell.
Seven News, brought to you in part by Rooms to Go.
Breaking news tonight.
This is a story we've been following since we returned from Cuba. More fallout tonight for a South Florida exile seen kissing Fidel Castro. Let's toss it to Glenna Milberg. She is at the 7 News desk with pictures that are just now coming in. Glenna, what's going on? And welcome back tonight. We here at 7 News are going to take you on the information superhighway. We are unveiling our data center. This is a facility where you, the viewer, can interact with us on each given newscast. How does it work? Well, 7's Mark Ludner is joining us now from the data center to explain just how it does that. Mark?
Rick, the purpose of the data center is to get more information to our viewers faster and to get information from our viewers faster. The goal: to make television news a two-way form of communication, to make you, the viewer, a big part of what we do here. The tools include high-speed fax, instant wire service updates, electronic display maps, online email.
We all keep hearing about the information highway. 7 News is now one of the on-ramps. The data center is where you and 7 News and the electronic news resources of the world interconnect. It's
an exchange of information between us and our viewers.
Computer expert and award-winning newsman Will Harbison set up the data center.
For anyone that has a fax machine at home, you can send us a fax through our own telephone number, and easily the reporter can take that fax and show it right on the camera immediately. So that's one of the quickest feedbacks we'll be able to use with the viewers.
So when there is an urgent update coming in, there's another one right now, people will be able to read it over our shoulders as we see it.
Exactly.
Bottom line, you don't need to be into computers to get something out of the data center. So whether or not you've got a PC or a fax, welcome to interactive TV news. Welcome to the two-way information highway. This is Mark Lumner at the data center.
All right, thanks, Mark.
Again, we're following a breaking story that Glenna Milberg just told you about moments ago. Outrage, offense, and now major opposition. Some of South Florida's Cuban exiles joining forces against a woman caught on camera kissing Fidel Castro. We will be taking you again to the heart of this protest.
Disbelief tonight across the world. They are hacking off the arms and legs of some kids in Rwanda.
And things are heating up again in Ecuador. We will be taking you around the world. Stay with us.
I'm Patrick Fraser in the 7 Newsplex. Have you ever seen a drag race down a dark street? Have you ever been drag racing? Well, we have. We spent several nights out watching the people who love to drag race. And guess what? It's fun. Let me tell you something else. It's also deadly. Tonight at 6, we'll show you one girl who raced and will never race or walk again. We'll have that story coming up on 7 News at 6.
Time for 7 weather.
Boy, those thunderstorms were really flaring up starting early today because of a disturbance that developed overnight.
Our first stop tonight in World News, Rwanda. Tonight, 44 orphans leaving the battle-torn region after a heinous attack.
Later on 7 News at 6, a child rapist on the loose. We take you from the scene of the crime to the scene of a neighborhood on guard. Tonight, shocking developments all parents need to hear.
Also, a middle school teacher admits to taking nude pictures of several 14-year-old students. His story, topping 7 News at 5:30.
Go back to Cuba! Go back to Cuba! And she was seen kissing Castro. Now some Cuban exiles are furious.
I'm Jay Heiler. A little later on in sports, we'll take a look back at a wet and wild game for the Marlins last night. Plus, we'll take a ride on board with the Heat as they wing their way to Atlanta for the playoffs.
And that is 7 News at 5 o'clock.
7 News at 5:30 is next. Don't go away.
Next on 7 News at 5:30. A Dade teacher admits he fondled a 13-year-old student at school. Tonight, you'll hear him explain why he did it. It's been 1 month since Shannon Melendi disappeared. Tonight, her family and friends are trying something new to find her. Black flags fly in a neighborhood where people could be forced out of the homes they worked so hard to keep. And Busch Gardens' newest additions are so small, they fit in the palm of your hand. These stories and much more coming up next on 7 News at 5:30.
Live from South Florida's news station, WSVN 7. This is 7 News at 5:30.
Good evening. A teacher at a Miami Springs school for 30 years now admits tonight that he fondled a 13-year-old girl.
And her parents say he molested her as many as 20 times. Why does he say he did it?
7 and Sofer is just back from talking to him. She's at the news desk with a story you will see only on 7. Cinnamon?
It's a former PE teacher who says that he doesn't know why he did such horrible things. His crimes are disturbing. A 54-year-old man who abuses the bodies and the minds of 7th grade girls who trusted him.
7's Glenna Milberg has been following this story since Shannon disappeared. Let's take you upstairs right now to the update desk. Glenna, what did they say?
Jessica, I just got off the phone with detectives in Atlanta. They say despite a team of at least a dozen people working on this very case, there are still no substantial leads to follow. This 1-month anniversary, a grim milestone, but Shannon's family and friends are far from giving up hope. In fact, Shannon's father just spent a few minutes with us talking about it.
A look at 5:30 News around the state begins in Jacksonville.
That is where a man fights back against some would-be robbers and wins. It happened at a Days Inn hotel. Police say the gunman tried to hold up the man outside his hotel room, but the man saw the robber coming, pulled out a gun, and shot him.
Still ahead on 7 News at 5:30. Daughters all over South Florida getting to go to work with mom. The details coming up in News for Women.
A rock and roller telling all about his heroin abuse.
And later on, drag racing may seem like fun and games to many people, but it's hardly a victimless crime. An inside report you'll see only on 7.
You're watching 7 News at 5:30 with Jessica Aguirre and Rob Hanrahan.
I'm Rick Sanchez. Stories are following for you right now. She told Fidel Castro how much she appreciated what he had done for her people. Now South Florida's Cuban community is telling her how much they don't appreciate her.
Time for 7 weather.
It was another one of those crazy stormy days in South Florida. Man, the deluge was just coming down this morning.
Just ahead on 7 News at 6, new developments in a story we first told you about last night. A little girl stolen from her room in the night and raped. Now we're learning several reports of a peeping Tom may be connected to the case.
But first, coming up in sports, the Marlins and the Braves slug it out after hours. Jay Heiler with the details coming up next.
Time for 7 video sports.
And that wraps up 7 News at 5:30.
7 News at 6 is next.
Next on 7 News at 6, a 7-year-old girl taken from her home in the night and raped. Some say this isn't the only incident, and tonight, one mother shows us how it happened. She embraced Castro over the weekend, and tonight, this woman's life is being threatened.
I'm Patrick Frazier. Drag racing is fun. We'll show you what it's like. Drag racing is also disastrous. We'll show you that too. Watch our special drag racing inside report, and we bet you'll never want to race again. The story is coming up.
And thousands sang their final farewells to former President Nixon. 7 News at 6 is next.
Live from South Florida's news station, WSVN 7. This is 7 News at 6 o'clock.
Good evening. A little girl kidnapped for her bed and raped, and tonight police say she may not be the only victim.
And tonight what we are learning is that this may not be an isolated case in Vero Beach.
We have Team 7 coverage tonight, beginning with Shepard Smith, who spoke to a woman who says her daughter was also targeted. This is a particular story we're on top of. We started this last night. We're following up today. Shepard, of course, has the latest for us. Shepard, take it away.
There were leaves all the way up to right here. Like they're actually, right up to here, all the way around up to here, like they were leaning over the bed.
We will be following this story throughout the course of the night. As soon as we learn anything more, we will immediately let you know. Now, Craig Stevens, he is at the 7 News desk. Craig?
Rick, this is exactly the kind of welcome home many feared for these exiles upon their return, and pictures we have just gotten in the last hour here at the news desk show just how angry some South Florida Cuban exiles are tonight.
But Sabrina Cohen knows better. For her, it was a life sentence. With this Inside Report, I'm Patrick Frazier, 7 News.
All right, thank you, Patrick.
Still to come on 7 News at 6, investigators search for clues after a plane crash kills more than 250 people. We'll have details for you in World News, and that's next.
Voting and violence. Dozens are busted after bombs tear through South Africa.
I'm health specialist Marilyn Mitchell. A new warning about the world's most popular sleeping pill, HealthCast, is next.
You're watching 7 News at 6 with Rick Sanchez and Kelly Mitchell.
That is 7 News at 6.
7 News at 6:30 is now coming your way.
Tonight on 7 News at 6:30, the nation pauses for a final farewell to a former president. We'll take you live to California. Bombs and ballots in South Africa as the nation's first all-race election goes into full swing.
We let animals die very peacefully and humanely, while humans are made to suffer.
Dr. Death takes the stand in his own defense. Plus, how'd you like to see this in your rearview mirror? And in dollars and cents, the casino controversy heats up. And how'd you like to party with Prince on South Beach? 7 News at 6:30 is next.
Live from South Florida's news station, WSVN 7. This is 7 News at 6:30.
Good evening. Tonight, final goodbyes for a former chief executive.
A farewell salute to the nation's 37th president, Richard Milhouse Nixon. Funeral services for Nixon will be getting underway in California in about just 30 minutes.
And it is time to check out what's coming up later tonight on 7 News.
Of course, we begin with Kelly Mitchell and 7:30.
Yeah, it is time to talk about 7:30, and we'll even be together for once in a month. Music fans, listen up. You can now own a piece of Elvis, not Elvis memorabilia. Oh, no, a piece of Elvis. Long live the king, right in your own home, if the price is right. Find out what we mean coming up tonight on 7:30. Now back to Jessica and Rob.
Can't wait, Cal. Now it's time to check out what's coming up on 7 News at 10.
And for that, we head up to Rick Sanchez, who is at the update desk. Rick.
High above, and these are the stories that we're following for you. We'll bring you tonight at 10 o'clock. America getting ready to say a final goodbye to former President Richard Milhouse Nixon. Funeral services set to begin in just a few minutes. Hundreds of dignitaries have already arrived, including every living American president, present and past. And we're going to take you live to Yorba Linda, California tonight for a complete wrap-up of all the ceremonies. That's going to be right here on 7 News at 10 o'clock. Right now, though, we send it back downstairs.
All right, thank you, Rick. And that's 7 News at 6:30. I'm Rob Hanrahan.
And I'm Jessica Aguirre. We leave you tonight with a live picture from California where funeral services for former President Nixon are about to get underway. Good night.
Good night. This is the Satellite News Center. State-of-the-art technology. With this, we can access news anywhere in the world and bring it to you as it happens.
The 7 Newsplex from South Florida's news.
Tonight on 7 News, first to 10, 3 major stories. He snatched the little girl out of her bed, raped her, and then sent her back to her Vero Beach home. Now, they are learning there may be more victims of this child stalker.
May God bless Richard Nixon. And may God bless the United States.
America coming together to say a final farewell to former President Richard Nixon.
Go back to Cuba! Go back to Cuba! Stay with Fidel over there! We don't want you here!
Furious Cuban exiles taking their anger out on a former congressional candidate, a woman seen kissing Fidel Castro. These stories, plus, has a gruesome discovery brought the search for a missing Cooper City woman to an end. The thrill of victory for some, but a different kind of agony for others. An inside report on street drag racing. And in People News, why Steven Tyler's talking about heroin, why Steffi Graf's taking on a rock band, and why would Madonna marry Vanilla Ice? I'm Rick Sanchez.
And I'm Kelly Mitchell, and 7 News at 10 is next.
From South Florida's news station, WSVN 7. This is 7 News at 10 o'clock.
And hello again, everybody. Tonight, 4 major stories that we are following for you.
All of it coming your way live from the 7 Newsplex. First, a developing story. Police are searching for a missing woman in Cooper City, and a gruesome discovery. They now have ended their search.
New information in Vero Beach in the case of a little girl snatched from her bed and then raped.
A final farewell to former President Richard Nixon. He is laid to rest.
And a Cuban exile who kissed Fidel Castro feels the wrath from other South Florida exiles.
We begin tonight with the latest on the search for a missing woman, a search that sadly may be over tonight. The 9 Team's John Turchin has been following the search. He joins us now live from Cooper City. John.
Well, Kelly, we were on the embankment of a canal just behind Pioneer Middle School, and behind that are the softball fields where Mrs. Terry Eberhardt disappeared sometime yesterday evening.
You're watching 7 News at 10 with Rick Sanchez and Kelly Mitchell.
I'm Patrick Frazier with an inside report. Perhaps you've seen them flash by in the darkness or heard the roar of the engines.
The man known as Dr. Death takes the stand in his Detroit trial.
And now, 7 Healthcast with Marilyn Mitchell.
And
WSVN Healthcast why it's important to do whatever you want to do for a few minutes every day.
Time for 7 weather.
I'm Rob Hanrahan at the 7 News Desk. Another breaking story we're following for you right now. This one comes from Fort Lauderdale. Apparently a multiple shooting. We can bring the camera around here and show you right up here behind Edwin here at the News Desk. That is a live picture coming into us from one of our microwave units. This happening at 200 West Sunrise Boulevard in Fort Lauderdale.
Time for 7 video sports.
Well, Gary Sheffield turned some heads after signing a hefty new contract last season, but... I'm Rob Hanrahan with the 11 o'clock headlines at the Update Desk with the latest on 3 breaking stories we've been following for you tonight.
Thank you, Rob.
And that is 7 News at 10 o'clock. I'm Rick Sanchez.
And I'm Kelly Mitchell. Thanks for watching. Good night.
Good night, everybody.